Hey there and welcome back to Urban Gardening Canada. My name is Bree and I garden in Zone 5 here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Today I'm going to be taking you through leaf miners, which are a garden pest that comes in the springtime and left unchecked can totally ravage your leafy greens. If you like today's video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so I know to keep making more videos just like this. Okay, quickly, let's talk about what leaf miners even are. So leaf miners are the larvae of different insects such as flies, sawflies, beetles, or moths. They lay their eggs on their plant of choice, and then those eggs hatch and find their way into the center of a leaf, and they eat the inside of the leaf. This is why your leaves will look translucent, or they'll have blotches on them, or even squiggles as the larvae wander around the leaf and eat to their heart's content. So leaf miner damage is really easy to identify. If you see any of that, then you know you've got leaf miners. Depending on how many leaf miners are in your leaf, how long they've been in there for, the amount of damage will vary. So there are some plants that are more affected than others. For me in my garden, the Swiss chard plants are the biggest ones that get hit by it, but they'll also damage your nasturtium, cabbage, beet greens, and spinach. Apparently they do target other plants. However, I've never seen damage on any of my other plants, and that's probably because I always have Swiss chard in my garden, and so they go for the easiest or the tastiest one for them. There are 3 different ways that you can manage leaf miners. None of them include pesticides. I will never ever suggest using pesticides in our gardens for many reasons. Is that they are indiscriminate, so they will kill the beneficial insects in your garden. You don't want to be eating them, you don't want to be handling them, and it's just not good on the environment, so I will never recommend that. The first thing that you can do is look for eggs on the back of the leaves. It's really quite simple. All you do is flip over the leaves of these affected plants that I mentioned earlier, and if you find any patches of white eggs that are in a row together, those are the eggs of the leaf miner. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to wipe or scrape them off. When you take the eggs off, you're stopping the larvae in their tracks, and so you're not going to get any damage. So if you make a regular habit of checking the back of your leaves every single morning or day, you're not going to end up with any leaf miner damage at all. The second thing you can do is remove the affected leaves, so you can break off the leaves that have damage and compost them, or you can actually just rip off the part that has damage and you can throw that part away. Because the leaf miners are inside of the leaves, when you break off the damaged part, there are no leaf miners left to keep damaging the rest of your plant. And any part of your leaf that isn't damaged is still totally safe to eat, so don't throw it away. Your last option is to remove the insects, so you can squish them in between your fingers. If you are kind of icked out by it, you can put on gloves and squish it, so that way the leaf miners are dead inside of the leaf. This is a good choice if you're not ready to harvest your leaves yet. You don't want to eat them, but you don't want the damage to continue. You can just squish the larvae in between the leaves. If you wanted to see where the larvae exactly are, you can peel the leaf open and look for them inside of the leaf and squish them directly there. The first year that I ever got leaf miner, I didn't know what it was, and I was growing a ton of Swiss chard, and there was quite a bit of damage in the patch of Swiss chard that I had, but it really wasn't that bad. And I remember panicking, and I pulled all of my leaves up, like everything that had the smallest amount of damage to some that the entire leaf was fully damaged. I pulled them all up and I threw them out. And looking back, like, what a waste of food. Such a waste of food. Literally all I had to do was kill the bugs inside of it, rip off the bad parts, or look for eggs. That's all I had to do. And instead I just threw away like just so many leaves. And looking back, obviously I would have probably done the same thing again being new at it, but it's definitely not necessary. It's such a difference when you first find an insect and the damage that it's causing and the panic that comes in you versus the second and third year when you finally know what you're doing. So I hope this video helps you not rip up all of your plants out of pure panic. Okay, so the final thing I wanted to share with you is how you can prevent leaf miners from coming. And if you really don't want to have to worry about wiping off eggs or squishing any bugs, you can put insect netting over top of your leafy greens. Just make sure that they're planted separately from any plant that requires pollination from insects such as peppers. And if this is the route you want to go, all you have to do is put insect netting over top of your plants but just make sure that the netting isn't resting directly on the leaves. Make sure there's a gap of 1 or 2 inches because of course these bugs can lay eggs through the netting and then you can prevent leaf miners from coming at all. And that's everything for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.